Hello and welcome back to the Bamboo Farm. It is Monday, April 4th, 2022, and this is the latest what's going on here. First things first, I'd like to direct your attention to a soil analysis that we did here at the end of February. And I'd like to talk about a couple things that we did. We did a fertilizer application, and we chose our fertilizer input based on some of the results of this soil analysis. So the first thing is when we just look at the chart here, we see that there's definitely a deficiency in sulfur and a little bit low on potassium. So what we did is for our fertilizer is we did a 1969. This is a 90-day release fertilizer, and it contains the prill in the fertilizer is coated so that the nitrogen as well as the phosphate, potassium, magnesium, iron are slow release as well. So it's kind of a fancy fertilizer, but 19% on the nitrogen with some urea, ammonia, 6% on the phosphorus, and then 9 on the potassium. And we did this at half a pound per plant, or 8 ounces roughly. Everything else on the soil analysis here was pretty good. As far as the sulfur goes, we were correcting that, and the sulfur is actually tied in with another thing that we are correcting or moving in the right direction here is the soil pH. So soil pH is extremely important. I could do an entire, there could be an entire book written about soil pH. The basics of it are that the higher the pH is, the more alkaline that it is, the more nutrients that the plant is, or the less nutrients that the plant is able to uptake and have available. So when the pH is closer to 7 or even just a bit below 7, like here it says the target being 6.5, then the nutrients that are in the soil are more available for the plant. The plant can more easily uptake them into the roots and then into the plant itself. So it's sometimes deceiving to look at an analysis like even what we have here. We've got high amounts of phosphorus. Well, it could be phosphate or phosphite, right? And there's different ions and things for how that it doesn't differentiate it just in this soil test. And so just because the minerals and nutrients are there does not necessarily mean that the plant can access it or easily uptake it. So and so sulfur. So first of all, the sulfur content in the soil was low, and we would be able to back this up actually by a tissue sample, a leaf tissue sample analysis. But so the sulfur content being low, what we did is we spread some of this Tiger 90 elemental sulfur. It's 90% elemental sulfur and then 10% inert material. So, and we spread this at 40 pounds to the acre. And what we're going to do is probably do this about every 30 to 45 days. We'll spread it again, another 40 pounds to the acre, and probably do that over the course of the season. And what we want to do is just slowly work this. We'd like to slowly work this pH down to 7 or even just a little bit below 7, like 6.8 or something like that would really be ideal. And some other things that we could do for that is humic acid. We could do a spray like around the bases or onto the clumps of humic acid spray. So we might be looking at doing that later on in the season as well. But for now, we just did a sulfur, and this is just these are just dry granulars broadcast spread. One thing about that is we want to be careful about how fast we bring that soil pH down, because it's becoming more acidic. It could, without if you go too fast and go too heavy, then the plants are not able to adapt to it, and they start having like burnt roots and things like that from the acid content. So um, we want to just slowly bring that down, and that's how we're going to do it. It's just 40 pounds to the acre broadcast uh, about every probably 45 days on average, 30, 45, 60 days, something like that. Okay, so that's kind of the main thing here on the soil analysis. Everything else is looking pretty good. As you can see, it's all rated either adequate or high or very high. And again, the big thing is to bring this down so that those nutrients become available for the plant, and they're not just present in the soil. All right, so that takes care of 90 days of the soil analysis, and that's the 1969. All right, so what's left here on the as far as the update goes, we just had some rain come through in the last couple of days. It was about an inch, a little over an inch and a half over the last few days, which is pretty good actually for the start of April. I hope that it continues. Generally, March was a dry month. It usually is. It's just windy, and the season is changing. April, usually the same thing. Kind of windy. It's like one of those transition periods where the overnight temps go to like maybe into the 50s, high 50s, and then sometimes the daytime temperatures can get towards the high 80s. So it's kind of a huge swing as far as temperatures go, and the amount of sunlight is expanding. So we've crossed a 12-hour day, and even longer than that now, and it's going to continue to grow. So just as the seasons change over, we're noticing the plants are recovering from the frost and the cold stresses from February. They're very green now. There's new branching activity on the canes. We're not seeing shoots yet, and that's totally normal. We're probably not going to expect to see shoots until about May at the earliest, and then possibly even as late as June, depending on how fast the season just sort of continues to change. What we need to see is those overnight low temperatures to increase to roughly about 70 degrees or so, and then that will make the daytime temperatures will be up in the 90s, and that's kind of that tropical weather that the plants are accustomed to. So. And then obviously with that, we'll start to get some thunderstorms and some more rain, and that will be the trigger really for those plants to get started on putting out new growth shoots. So all that is good. There's really not anything else to update here as far as the April update goes. We're just continuing to do watering and we just did the fertilizer, but we're continuing to water and manage as we go. We're doing a lot of work over on lot 1, the older field that I don't have any video or photos of it to show right now, but we're doing a lot of cleaning out of the clumps over there, and we did the same fertilizer regimen as what we just talked about here. So we did the same thing over there. It's the same thing. The pH is a little bit high, and the sulfur is pretty low. And so another reason for that, I don't think I mentioned, is that the plants will actually use the sulfur and really all these nutrients that we're giving them, right? The nitrogen, potassium, they use that when they are growing, and that's why we apply them with the fertilizer. So it's like, yep, there is some in the soil, but the plant is going to use that and uptake it, especially as the season gets going over the next 90 days. And it requires those nutrients and minerals in order to grow and continue doing what it does. So, all right. All right. So that is it for the April 2022 update. If you like this video format, this update format, please let me know. I think I like it a little bit better. And I'm just going to be constantly trying to improve as we go along. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if not, I will see you on the next one. Thank you.